do clinicals and not study for tests, nursing school would be great. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm gonna try and not make my intro super long because I have a tendency to do that and I don't mean to do that. But as you can tell by the title, I'm gonna be doing a nursing school Q&A. So I just got some of my friends to send me some questions that I think people, or they thought people would wanna know. And yeah, and also I just finished my first semester, so take this with like a first semester point of view. Anyway, let me get right into the questions because I also don't want this video to be a million minutes long, okay? So first question. Okay, so I got one question about what is the average GPA of a nursing student, and I feel like that very much varies. I've heard people with really high GPAs like 3.7s to 4.0s. I've heard people who have lower GPAs, like I've heard 3.3s at the beginning of this semester. I had a 3.5 I think at the beginning of this semester, or 3.4, 3.5, 3.4. I think I had 3.5. But so the average GPA, I can't really say. I don't know off the top of my head, but I've heard a variety of GPAs. I've never heard anything lower than a 3.2 or 3, but don't quote me because I'm sure there's those type of students out there. So yeah. Next question. Can you explain how clinicals work? So yeah, two of my friends asked me clinicals questions. So basically clinicals are our day in the life of being a nurse, but in a student form. So for my clinicals this semester, I had to go to the hospital. I was on the cardiology unit, so every patient on there had some heart related issue. And so basically I followed around a nurse, like I was assigned a nurse. I had paperwork to fill out. I had to fill out the type of medications the patients were taking. I had to fill out just like background information on them. I had to do head to toe assessments on the patient. I had to take their vital signs and just help them if they needed help walking, or if they need help with anything. That's basically what I did. I did not administer any medication. Hopefully that's in the same spot because just fell. But yeah, I did not administer any medication, and I did not give any shots. I did not take any blood. I would run supplies and errands for the nurses sometimes. We did catheters. I've taken out a catheter before. It just really, some of my clinical, like some of my classmates gave people baths. It really just depended. But yeah, we didn't do any medication or anything like that because we didn't exactly learn it yet. So after next semester, I think we should be able to do that. But that's what we did for clinical. So I basically spent 8 hours at clinical. The average nursing shift is 12 hours, but we didn't do 12 this semester. I think we started doing 12 next semester. But yeah, it was 8 hours at the hospital, and they were really fun. You had to get up early, and then we had like a little lunch break, but the nurses barely took lunch breaks. Like the nurses' lunch breaks were actually really short, but we did have lunch breaks. And yeah, we wore our scrubs. A lot of people are shocked when I tell them that I actually was in the hospital working with real people. They didn't think I did that in my first semester or first year, but we do. So yeah, I really enjoyed clinicals. It made me really feel like I was an actual nurse. And yeah, I hope I explained it well. And is it easy to make friends in nursing school? I guess it just depends on the person and also your clinical group, because at my school they assign us clinical groups, and we're with the same clinical group for the whole time in nursing school. So I'm partnered with, like, I think there's 8 of us in the group, 7 girls that I'm with. There's some boys in clinical groups because there's some boys in nursing programs, but there's no boys in my group. I feel like it was kind of hard to make friends a little bit, just because for me I was transferring to another school, and it was also in a pandemic, so like our class sizes were smaller. We didn't see people like every single day. It wasn't the easiest, but I did make friends because my clinical group members are very nice. And I also had one friend at the school that I already knew prior to middle school, so she was like an automatic friend. But yeah, people at my school were really nice, and I feel like it probably is easy. You just have to find someone who shares your same common ideas or interests, or maybe study habits, or something like that. Because there's so many people in programs, like you're bound to make at least one friend, and that's all you really need, just 1 or 2 good friends, honestly. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. Is it easy to make friends? I would say yes and no. It just depends. I think it was easier for me to make friends my freshman year of college, but that's also because I had automatic roommates, and it wasn't in a pandemic. But I didn't have automatic roommates, and I was in a pandemic this year, so that was something. I got asked what is the starting salary for nurses. I don't really know It depends on your states. I know that. I know in California they're paid the most, but the cost of living in California is very expensive. Um, I want to say in Georgia, I think it's like 60K, like the average. But I honestly don't know. It also depends on how many degrees you have. Too. It depends if you're working on a private or public hospital as well. But nurses pretty much make a good salary for the most part, I feel like, especially if you get more degrees. So yeah, I think it's starting. I think in Georgia, starting is like, also nurses make money by the hour too, and you get paid more on weekends, you get paid more during nights, and you get paid more if you work on a holiday. So it just depends really, but I don't really know how to answer that. I've looked it up, but like it just depends on so many factors. It's not like one thing. So yeah. How long are most nursing programs? So my nursing program is 2 years. The accelerated nursing program in my school is 1 year. It's like they go through the summertime and everything. Most average nursing schools are 2 years. It's usually your junior and senior year of college if you're getting your bachelor's in nursing. What are the most difficult courses you take as a nursing student? So this is my first semester. So the classes I took were fundamentals, pathophysiology, nutrition, and health assessment. Nutrition was by far the easiest class. I think almost everybody got an A in there. I feel like the hardest for me was fundamentals, which is unfortunate because that was my 7 credit class. My lowest grade was in fundamentals, and it was just hard because like it's just, you have to think like a nurse basically. That's how the tests are. Like they're type of tests where like all the answers are right, but which one is most right type of thing. So it took me a while to like actually get a feel for the class. Like my grades in the class for the test, like it went like my first test grade was a C, then I got a B on the second one, then I got an A on the third one. Like it was really like you had to really try and understand, think how you were a nurse, as if you were a nurse. And also it included our clinical and our sim lab in it. So it just had a lot to go into that 1 grade. That's why it was 7 credits. But the easiest was nutrition. Pathophysiology wasn't too bad. I liked pathophysiology. That's basically like a continuation of anatomy, but way better. Like actually learning about disease. Like we learned about so many not diseases, but like issues, common issues that people have, like high blood pressure, diabetes, strokes, neurovascular problems, gastrointestinal problems, cancers. Cancers was like our first unit. So I learned a lot in that class, and I feel like it helped me understand the body a lot more. So I really enjoyed that class. And then health assessment is basically how we learn how to assess the body. So like we learn how to assess the reproductive system. We learn how to assess the abdomen. We learn how to assess the eyes, the ears. We learn how to assess someone who's in distress, like that type of thing. So those classes weren't necessarily hard, but they weren't easy. Like you could easily do bad if you don't try in those classes. But fundamentals was probably the hardest. So, but that's only for this first semester. Next semester, I know I take maternal and peds OBGYN course. I know I take med-surg 1 and pharmacology, and I heard maternal and peds is a very hard class because it's very material heavy. So stay tuned for a second semester recap. How do you prepare and study for exams? So I pretty much prepare and study for exams all the same way. I don't know any other study habits for myself. I basically write out all my notes. I answered the study guides that my teachers would give if they gave one. And I would make Quizlets. I use Quizlets a lot, especially for pathophysiology and health assessment. I use those a lot for those classes because those are easier classes to use flashcards for. For fundamentals, I did use Quizlet, but it was just kind of hard because like I explained, fundamentals, it's not like a direct answer that you can just study. Like pathophysiology, you can be like, what are the 2 main causes of chronic kidney disease? And you know it's diabetes and hypertension. But with fundamentals, it's not going to be direct questions like that. So I use Quizlet a lot. I use concept maps a little bit for pathophysiology. I feel like that helped me too, to just take a big thing like I just said, chronic kidney disease, and then just go to all the things. Okay, the causes of chronic kidney disease, the symptoms of chronic kidney disease. What can chronic kidney disease lead to? What can What can chronic oh my goodness. What can chronic kidney disease lead to? Like that type of thing. So That's how I study for patho. I think I'll make a video about how to study for patho, because I know patho is like a popular class that people get all woo about. But yeah, so that's really how I study for those. But I feel like, you know, practice questions are essential. I did practice questions for fundamentals a lot. um yeah, I don't know any other ways to study. So if you have any tips to study, especially for those second semester courses, let a girl know, because I'm trying to prosper as well. Okay, so but that's how I studied. What is your favorite thing about nursing school? My favorite thing so far has definitely been clinicals. Even though they were a lot of work and I was usually very tired at the end and I had to wake up early and I'm not a morning person, I did enjoy clinicals because it gave me insight to actually being a nurse. Like, it's all fun and games saying you're a nursing student when you're a freshman and sophomore, like, oh, I'm nursing. But when you actually get into nursing school and you're around real patients and you meet their families and their spouses and you hear a little bit more about their lives, like, these are real people that have real lives, and it's like so eye-opening for me. It was so eye-opening for me. So I really did like clinicals. I'm so glad we got to do them even in the midst of corona. So I really enjoyed that. I also really like sim lab, because sim lab was basically we had like a this was like a doll person, like a fake person, but the fake person had machines, the fake person had pulses, the fake person had breathing, like it was almost like a real person. And our professors always gave a story behind them and like why were they in the hospital, and that just gave us an opportunity to act like a real nurse. But yeah, clinicals by far are my favorites. I feel like clinicals are everyone's favorite though. If I could just do clinicals and not study for tests, nursing school would be great. Do nursing schools offer scholarships? Yes, they do. I got a scholarship from the school I'm currently at. And they have also little scholarships that you could apply for every semester. So they do. I feel like it's easier to get a scholarship in nursing school than when you're a freshman or sophomore. Like, people, like, if they're giving scholarships for nursing, they like to give it to upperclassmen nursing students, the ones that are juniors and seniors. So yes, nursing schools do offer scholarships for, like, from your direct school, so look out for those. Okay, can you have a social life and still be an outstanding student in nursing school? Yeah, you can. I feel like you can. Yeah, you can, but it's limited. It's not as much as it probably was for you freshman and sophomore year, but you most definitely can have a social life. But it's limited. You have to make your priorities straight. You have to you have to figure out what's most important, which are your tests, which are your classwork. Um, and if you're serious about nursing school, like, that's a no-brainer for you. You can have all the social life you want after school, I feel like. So, but yeah, you can. It's not impossible. I didn't have a lot. I had a little bit, not as much as I did my freshman and sophomore year of college. So yeah. How do you deal with failing an exam in nursing school, or when things get really hard and you get frustrated and overwhelmed? Okay, failing an exam in nursing school is just a lot different from failing an exam in my previous years. Like, when I would fail an anatomy test, I would like literally fail it. Like, it would be a bomb, like 50, 60, 40. Like, it would be really, really low. Did I ever get a 40? No, I'm sure I did. Like, it would be a really low exam. But in nursing school, a 72, a 74 is failing, because usual schools are like 75, 77 is a pass rate. So anything under 75 for my school is failing. So if you get a 74, that's failing. And it just takes a minute for your mind to like adjust to that. You're like, okay, that test was hard. I got a 74, not too bad, but again, bad because it's failing. So that's the only thing. You really just have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, figure out what you did wrong, and just try to push forward for the next one. Like, there's literally nothing else you can do. You have to really try not to fail at all. You have to really try to get your highest grade as possible. You really have to try and make your grade as high as possible in the beginning, because it's really hard to pull yourself back up later on in the semester, especially when you're tired and lazy and all that type of stuff, which is something I had to learn too. So you really just have to pull yourself up. And also, you have to remember that these tests do not define the type of nurse you're gonna be, which is something I have to tell myself all the time. Like, at the end of the day, we all get the same degree. Just make sure you pass. We all have to take the same NCLEX. We all have to pass the same tests. These tests and the schoolwork does not define who you are. Who you are as a nurse. I've had many nurses this past semester tell us that what we learn in nursing school is only 10% of what we actually do as nurses. Like, you learn so much on the job when you're actually a nurse, when you actually have your license. Like, nursing school can only teach you so much. Nursing school is short. It's only 2 years. So just take that with, like, take every failure as just a chance to make yourself better, and utilize your resources. Let it stop you, not let it deter you, even though it's really hard and can be really disappointing. And don't compare yourself to people, because I compare myself so much to people in my program, because there's some really, really smart people in my program, and I'll just be like, so I had to really tell myself not to compare myself. I had to really tell myself that, you know, I don't even talk about my grades with people, really, unless it's a really close friend. Like, if I'm not really, really close with you, there's no reason for me to be talking about my grades with you, honestly. So I also stopped doing that. Like, people would ask me my grades, and we talk about grades, and there's just no, like, well, how does that help anybody, really? Listen, it's hard, though, because I'm like, take your own advice. No, well, do I even take my own advice? LOL, no. Do you ever feel like there's any competitiveness between students? Nope. Maybe with some other groups and other circles, probably, like people who really put themselves on a pedestal when it comes to their grades. But I do not feel, I'm like, we're all in the same program. No matter what your grades were before nursing school, we're all in the same program. So obviously I'm doing something right. So no, I don't feel any competitiveness at all. At all. More questions, let me know below, because I always answer questions. If you look at my other videos, I always answer people's questions. So let me know any questions that you have. But the last one, do you know what specific nursing field you want to go into? So I think I want to go into the neonatal intensive care unit, which is the NICU, or the pediatric intensive care unit, which is the PICU, or just be a plain pediatric nurse, or like a labor and delivery nurse. Just something, because in that area, because I love kids, I love babies. I don't think I want to work with adults, and I don't think I want to work with geriatric patients. But who knows, I really might change my mind by the time I graduate, because when we were learning about surgical nursing last month, I was like, wow, being a surgical nurse sounds kind of cool. But the great thing about nursing is that you can try so many different things, so many specialties. You can bounce back and forth. You can go from ER to NICU to PICU to labor and delivery to psych to burn unit, to trauma unit, to the ICU. There's so many routes you can go, but I definitely see myself staying in the kids to baby range. But we'll see after I take this maternal and peds class next semester, because that, I think that will really tell me if I want to do it. But yeah, so I think that's what I want to do. But let me know if you want to see a part 2. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did, let me know if you have any questions down below. I'll answer anything. Also, check out all my other videos. I have videos about pre-nursing tips. I have videos about how I got into nursing school. I have videos about the T's. So just let me know. Follow me on Instagram, because I also answer questions in the DMs. And thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 300 subscribers by the end of December. Bye guys.